been a member of this congregation since 1983.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Oh, okay, that's terrible. My name is Paula Montgomery, and I've been a member of this congregation since 1983. And there may be others who've been members longer, but not me. Anyway, welcome to everyone. I'm glad to see you here. It is nice, very good to look out and see my friends and fellow congregants here. We have a long list of announcements. You were given a copy of most of these announcements, but I'm going to read them just in case you missed them. The hours that we have for our office administrator, and we are so lucky to have an office administrator. Her name is Laura Herbeck, and the hours are changing slightly. In order to accommodate a couple of hours of remote work Monday through Thursday, the hours that she will be actually in the office now will be Friday from 9 till 2, and Saturday from 10 to 1. Number 2. Next Saturday, May the 6th at 9 a.m., we need able-bodied workers, and you are requested to bring shovels and help with the continuing fence repair. Daniel Cobb will be in charge, and all of us will be most grateful for your help. If you don't have a shovel, come anyway. Next Saturday. Okay, the Saturday after that, May the 13th, we are planning another garden and grounds work day. It's just a lot of work to be done. Starting at 9 a.m., we'll have lunch at 12, potluck. That's always fun. Please let Laura Keith King know if you can come and what you'll bring. Laura, wave to the crowd. This is Laura. Even if you can't work, we welcome you to come and have lunch with us. Number 4. If you've been here at any time since last November, you will have noticed the activity on the property to our north. At our request, the Escambia County Code Enforcement Authorities visited the site last week and inspected it. She has ascertained that the owner does have an engineered and county-approved plan for the construction, which includes a 10,000 square foot warehouse and a retention pond to manage the drainage, which will be located on the other side of the warehouse from us. And that's a relief. The drainage has been a problem. Once it's safe to remove the erosion control barrier, we will replant that area that is on our property and address his responsibility for the area of our property that he illegally cleared. Okay, on May 21st at 11:30, we will have our annual meeting. Be sure that you come to that, during which we vote on our budget and elect our most recent slate of board members. We will also be voting on whether to adopt the proposed 8th principle from UUA, which you have read about in the last issue of our newsletter. If not, dig up the newsletter and read it. The link. Please be there to join us for lunch, another lunch, and participate in the meeting. And I have a very happy announcement. Well, 30 of us attended the Nehemiah Action last Monday. For some of us, that was difficult because our seating was in the balcony and there was no elevator. But we made it, and we showed up, and we did good. All right. That's all the announcements. At this point, we will have some centering music during which our 7 principals will be playing. chalice. We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. Our opening hymn is Spirit of Life, which is number 123 in your hymnal. And the choir will come up here and lead us. Maddie's Girl Scout troop has created a video for us. She will introduce it.
Okay, hello everyone. Just a brief intro of the video. This is the last project that my troop and I will be working on together, at least as Girl Scouts. And so we want to do something with like a real, tangible community impact. So we turned to the Smith's Bakery building in downtown Beaumont-de-Villiers, because I know that was recently listed as one of Florida's most endangered historic landmarks. And so we wanted to raise awareness for the building and the Truth for Youth organization that currently operates the building. The Smith's Bakery was a beloved fixture in the Beaumont-de-Villiers neighborhood for decades. Until its closing in 1990, it was one of the many businesses which cemented Beaumont-de-Villiers as the cultural epicenter of Pensacola since the early 20th century. However, in more recent years, the building has fallen into disrepair. Reverend John Powell, representative of the building, is hoping to raise funds for repair.
Currently, the Beaumont-de-Villiers building is used to house Truth for Youth, a nonprofit organization owned and operated by Reverend John Powell. Mr. Powell does so much for his community. For example, during the pandemic, he made sure to do his share by emphasizing public health and providing needed supplies to the community. He also is proud of his ability to give away shoes, games, and toys to the children of the community to make sure they have their needs met, plus a little extra.
To begin his vision, Reverend Powell must make some adjustments to the building to make it habitable, one of which is the roof. In one part of the building, the roof is completely gone and you can see the stars at night. This is very inconvenient in the building process because whenever it rains, more water is being poured into the building, making it more difficult to restore. Reverend Powell has a spectacular vision for the space that would help build on its influential history, but to start, he needs these repairs fixed to begin his vision.
Once restored to its former glory, this building will house a community resource center with a wide array of amenities for underprivileged families, including classrooms, an auditorium, a shelter, and offices for other nonprofit organizations. This center will become a beacon of light in the neighborhood of Belmont de Villiers and will not only enrich the community, but will also provide even more fundraising opportunities and outreach. However, the significance of this building is tied to its location. Many investors would jump at the chance to tear down this structure, as it could be very lucrative as houses or retail properties. We cannot let this establishment be destroyed, like the John Sunday House was. Our future generations will thank us. It is urgent that you donate and spread awareness now towards this cause, as the threat on this building is ever present. On March 8th of 2023, the Pensacola City Council voted 7-0 for Mayor D.C. Reeves to negotiate on the property as it faces foreclosure. These officials have no definitive plan for the future of the building and have put no measures in place to ensure that it is historically preserved. Truth for Youth needs your help now more than ever.
On the fifth Sunday of every month that has 5 Sundays, and there are usually 4 of those a year, we donate our offering to a worthy cause in the community. So I'm about to ask you to get out your wallets and give generously, please. This time it will not go to Maddie's particular thing. We had already invited Families First Network. So it will go to Families First Network. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put into the doing. A lifelong sharing of love with others. That is by Mother Teresa. Today, one action of love is sharing our treasure. And it's time for the offering. And now, I would like to introduce our speaker for today. He is Mr. Thomas Williams from Families First Network. And what I hope he'll do is tell us a little bit about himself first, how he got involved, and then about what Families First Network is doing.
Well, thank you, Paul. I'm glad we didn't light you as we lit the chalice. to just share about our agency, Families First Network. But as Dr. Paula suggested, I'll tell you briefly something about me. I'm originally from New Orleans, so I apologize if you can't understand me. I'll speak slowly, as they say here at the podium, to help you hear and understand what I have to share this morning. You know that saying, read the room? Well, in doing that, this is the first time I've ever had the pleasure to join you. And I just get this real, sincere, moral obligation and ethical purpose, if you will, here for each other and your community. And that really touches me and overwhelms me. So I think you owe yourself a round of applause for having that, you know, just so well presented to a stranger. And that's all about love, and I'm a family man, you know, I try to do everything first and foremost out of respect and love. So again, that's basically, I'm a guy from New Orleans that you'll have trouble understanding, but nonetheless, I'll do my best to speak slowly and just share what I have to share. When Dr. Paula lit the chalice, kind of represented, if you will, a call to action, and provided your sense and dedication to community, church community, your community, to each other. Families First Network has spent the last 16 years as the contracted agency with our Department of Children and Family here in the state of Florida to manage foster care and adoption here in Escambia County, all the way over to Walton. I'm actually located here in Escambia County. And I'm here today just to share who we are as Families First Network and what we do. And then I'll share three things. I'll give you some good information about how foster care works, because there's a lot of myths out there and a lot of just misinformation. I'll try to correct that in a bit, as well as I'd like to talk about adoption of kids currently in foster care. And the third thing, I'd like to tell you what happens to children when they're in foster care homes and they, what we call, age out, which is meaning they turn 18 and they become young adults. So, as I was saying, we're contracted by our Department of Children and Families. We're affiliated with Northwest Florida Health, as they help manage foster care as well in partnering with us, and they also manage our behavior health for adults. So we're located over by Baptist Hospital in Escambia on Lakeview Center's campus. That's where our facilities are. And that's where children are brought to us anytime, day or night, that have to be removed from their homes, from their biological parents and their family because of unsafe conditions. And what will happen is these children will come to us. We're operating 24/7, and we have to find a foster home to place them in. You know, sometimes things are such that they have to stay overnight at our facility, and then we are able to get them a safe home environment temporarily. And I say temporarily because the whole purpose of foster care is to provide a safe, loving home with licensed, trained foster parents that we train and support to have these children there temporarily until the biological parents can regain their parental rights. So they have their own separate journey to go through, whatever they have to overcome to be reunited and care for their children again. So essentially, as we get these children, we place them in foster homes. And what could happen is And the statistics show about 60 to 70%, we are over time, could be a year, could be two, we're able to reunite these children with their biological parents. 30, 40% of the time, it doesn't work out. The parents weren't able to meet their obligation to do what they need to do to regain the rights. So we have to place them or make them eligible, if you will, for adoption. And that's one of my primary roles, is to find and seek out and meet with and ultimately train foster parents those that are interested in adopting, potential adoption parents. I work with them to put them in position to take a child that is in foster care that needs a permanent home. And just to give you a little background, in the 4 counties, there are approximately 1,400 kids in foster care. Okay? It's a lot of kids. Here in Escambia County, it's just under 200. And it just varies from day to day in terms of the actual numbers. I have a table back there. I have all kinds of information. So if you're interested in fostering children temporarily, that timeline, hopefully they can be reunited, or becoming an adoption parent and adopt these children, please come back to the table, speak with me, I'll give you some information, and I'm about to tell you exactly what that process is to become a foster parent or an adoption parent. To become a foster parent, and it's indeed the case with an adoption parent, what we do is we get you to our, like everything done these days, right? There's an hour-long information session that we do on a Zoom webinar, if you will. And it's an opportunity for us to share the process on how to become a foster parent, as well as answer any questions you might have. Now, to become a foster parent, and again, keep this in mind while you're listening. It could be you, or it could be somebody you know, or someone you think may have some room in their home, an extra bedroom, that may want to serve in such a selfless way and temporarily take care of a child until hopefully they can be reunited with their biological parents. So there's a couple of steps to become a foster parent. One is you go to that webinar, about an hour and 15 minutes long generally. And if you're interested, we get you in what we call our online foster parent training. It's one night a week from 6 to 8:30 in the evenings, usually on a Tuesday or Thursday, and it's for 8 weeks. And then once you're able to get through that, it's not highly intense, but it's very informative, particularly about children that need care due to the trauma they have experienced, right, being removed from their family. So it's a lot of focus on this and discussion on how to manage trauma. Because these children most of them will have, because of the environment they're raised in, behavioral health needs, okay? Emotional trauma. They could have been sexually abused. They could have been emotionally and physically abused. So they're not a prototypical model child, if you will, that you may expect to adopt. There are some obstacles and there are some barriers to jump over. But it is exceptionally rewarding both for you as a foster parent and especially for the child to be able over time to work through that. It's quite a call to action, if you will. It's not for everyone, but it is something that knowing the impact you can have on another, particularly a child, is in my opinion, the most selfless thing you could possibly do with your life, at least for a time being. So you take the webinar for an hour, learn all about foster care, and we get you in these classes, one night a week for 8 weeks. And then we do a home study. We come out and talk to you about your home environment, your lifestyle, your background, and we do a background check with the state make sure there's no criminal history of any kind or any issues in terms of legal issues in the past. So we do our due diligence to make sure that you are in fine stead and you're in good shape to be able to manage a child or children, because some folks become foster parents and they actually foster a sibling group, so which is incredible in my mind. So anyway, they do that. We do the training, the home study, and we also do the background checks. The whole process to become a foster parent overall takes between 3 to 5 months generally. And then you're able to have us reach out to you and try to place children in your home to take care of them temporarily. Our legislature has set things up where we're not a foster to adopt, meaning that if you're fostering children, it's a temporary process and a temporary mission, right? Because you will actually have communication with the biological parents, okay, to a degree, and all that is talked about and shared and described, and so you'll have an understanding on how that's done. Your privacy is fully protected. So at that point, we're able to place children, and hopefully you can work toward the reunification with the biological parents. Now, because we're not a foster to adopt state, as our legislature has set it up, it's a temporary process, you don't automatically have the opportunity to adopt children that are in your care as foster children. All right, now, doesn't mean you can't at all. We've had plenty of that happen, but generally what happens is the judge will decide on what is best in terms of moving forward, since the parents' parental rights were terminated, on how to manage the child from that point on, and then the foster parents are considered. So I just want to kind of bring that subject up, because that's a general question we get a lot. Do I get to adopt them because I'm in love with them so much? And that's totally understandable. It is certainly an option. Okay, so that's basically the foster care process, and there's a few more details, but let me move on to adoption. If you're just interested in strictly adopting a child, and want to give you this piece of information, our children that are generally eligible for adoption that come into our child welfare system that we manage are generally between the ages of 6 all the way up to 17. We don't have very many, but we do have very young babies or toddlers that we do need adoption parents for. But the numbers statistically are much lower than that age range I just said, between 6 and 17. So to become an adoption parent, you pretty much go through the same process where we'll do our webinar to explain the process, and then we get you into class. It's the same similar timeline, 1 night a week for 8 weeks, and then we get you the home study done and the background checks. And then we're able to put you in what we call, which is the coolest thing in the world, the Family Match program. Family Match is, strangely enough, with the time we're in, there's those online dating services with those algorithms that match people. Well, they do something similar with the history of the child and your family, and they kind of say, you know what, you may be interested in this sibling group or this child because of this, that, and the other, based on those parameters. And it's way over my head, of course. And you spend literally 3 months going through the process of meeting the child, spending more and more time with the child, to a point where there's a judge-mandated sleepover. It's kind of a cool process, so therefore we try to have consummate a win-win situation where the child wants to make your home their permanent family, and you're comfortable with the child, so the match, if you will, makes sense. And it can be something that's sustaining for both the adoption parent and the child. So adoption, keep in mind, as I said, with foster care, it may take 3 to 5 months to be licensed and to be able to have a child placed in your home. For adoption, it takes much longer. It's generally at least a year, just because of, you may go 3 months in the family match process and it doesn't work out. You may decide, well, that's not going to work out. This child, isn't, particularly comfortable here, or whatever the reasons may be, and so you just move on. So it takes a lot longer to adopt, okay? And then the third thing I'll just share, I don't want to be too long, and you can always reach out to me. I have all my contact information. When they become 18, we've had plenty of kids go through the situation of being in foster care, and they're not adopted. So what happens to them? Well, we have what we call a young adult services unit that's made up of about 15 employees that basically, because of the incredible state support, Florida state support, these kids are actually set up with roommates generally in an apartment. They receive $250 a month for their groceries. Everything is covered, both foster care and adoption and young adult service. Medicaid covers any health, medical issues, expenses. These young kids, if they go to school within Florida, the college tuition is paid for all 4 years. The adoption parents get approximately $600 a month to help in the adoption process, and YAS is the same way. They get a stipend, I think, of about $400. So, in YAS, Young Adult Services, is basically you take care of the child from 18 to 23 while they're in school, or they can have a job, and you take care of them just to provide that timeline to where they can move on, and your support for them to, become an adult, do all those things necessary. So, I think it's fair to share. I came aboard, I retired in the private sector. I started working at Families First Network in early 2018, so it's been about 5 years. And when I came, across all 4 counties, there were about 800 kids in foster care. Now there's, like I said, 1,400. So, I hate to use the word crisis, but that's why I'm here today. I want to reach out to every church that I can get into and offer or suggest that if every church fostered 1 child or adopted 1 child, problem solved. And that church kind of supports that foster family or that adoption family. How cool would that be? And it's really not difficult, because you know what? There's pearls in the pew, as they say. There's somebody out there in every church that says, you know what? I could open up my home for a couple of years for a kid. Some way, or a young 18-year-old trying to figure things out. So anyway, thank you for your time. I just wanted to share that, where we are, what we're doing, and I'll be back at the table there to answer any questions you might have. I don't know if I have time for any questions and answers.
You have about 5 minutes.
5 minutes, so anyone like to ask anything in regards to foster care, adoption, or young adult services?
What if we just want to give or volunteer if we're not able to, open our home up? How do we do that?
Oh, absolutely. What you can do is at our website there's information that facilitates that opportunity, but you can get my number and I can more personally help you in regards to any types of donation or volunteering you'd like to do. And there are folks that literally tutor, if you will, for homework. We have churches that have kind of made a mission group of just helping Families First Network. We have a group of guys, forget the name of the church, but it's a small group of about 4 guys. During the summer, they cut the grass of the 4 foster parent families that are in that area. Simple things like that, you know. And then we have a food bank where Liberty Church sends out once a month meals. So there's a lot of ways. Thanks for that question. Yes, ma'am.
Do your services extend to Santa Rosa County as well?
Yeah, I should have said that. We manage, Families First Network, through the Department of Children and Family, manages Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton. Yes, and we have facilities at each of those counties. Yes.
Yeah, what if the birth mother wants their kids back?
Wait for the mic.
Yeah, what's being done for the birth mother to help her get the kids back if she's wanting them back?
Well, that's a great question, because most of those scenarios where the birth mom gives her baby up, it's generally through an adoption, a private adoption firm that would manage that. We usually get kids, and we just manage, you know, we work with the state, so we're not private. We basically just manage those kids that get removed from their homes, okay? Now, so your question would be is, can that biological parents come back and want the child? Well, I mean, the judge will mandate that once the adoption is consummated, they are terminated from that opportunity. Yeah, so they're not eligible or able to regain rights of the child once they're in an adoption family. Now, do some of these adoption families open up opportunities to share time, you know, in some public setting where, you know, that has to all be cleared with the judge? Yes, ma'am.
Pointed at your mouth.
I was wondering, what is the racial and ethnic background of the children, either for foster or for adoption, black, white, Asian, Hispanic?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll begin by telling you it's across the board. Percentage-wise, there are more African American children that are in foster care. There's more children in African American foster children in foster care, and that's why our need is more. We're in more need of African American foster parents and adoption families. Yes, but it's across the board. You know, we get a lot. You know, percentage-wise, it's mostly Caucasian. You know, just because of the sheer, you know, population that you're looking at that we serve, but there are quite a bit of African American children as well. Yes.
What's the age distribution?
The age is anywhere from an infant all the way to 17. You know, but like I was telling you, between 6 and 17 is where we have more kids that are eligible for fostering and adoption. Yes, yeah. Folks, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. We will now have our closing hymn, which is Love Will Guide Us, number 131, and the choir will lead us. it is extinguished, the light lives on in the minds and the souls of each of us. Let us carry the flame with us and share it with those we know, with those we love, and most especially with those we have yet to meet. Thank you. Go in peace.